Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?
Amazing morning and welcome to Wakes Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying? I usher you into the new week of November and I wish you great opportunities and timeless memories. And I want you to think about Monday as the day where all things become possible for you. I want to welcome you to the breakfast show for young and vibrant minds. Kickstart your week with us as we dissect through thought-provoking conversations on politics and national interests, trending issues and social commentary, physical and mental awareness, tech trends and innovations, financial literacy, and of course, youth empowerment. This Monday, we're going to be talking about something that has been a very key topic, in the minds of Nigerians over the weekend. It has trended on X. It has been spoken about on Instagram and so many social media platforms. But I need to tell you also that you can tune in every Monday morning to Friday as we explore fresh perspectives, pressing discussions, and inspiring stories. As you already know, I am Okikiola Taiwo-Sidiq, and I welcome you specially to this show this Monday morning. And as you know, I'm never here alone. I came with a girl gang, my girl gang, Alichi, I'm sorry, God's beauty.
No, it's fine.
God's beauty.
How are you?
Hi, God's beauty.
Hi.
What's up? How are you doing? What does it feel like to get into November?
I think beautiful, grateful, right? Because, just last week I was thinking about the fact that this time last year was a bit crazy. I'm not even going to lie. I think it was also within this time that we're also doing the whole, campaign for the obedience and all of that. So, yeah, there was just a lot of things that was going on at the same time. But this is me here, right? And I'm just grateful to God for, for life, in short, there's this testimony that hits me hard during the weekend, and I'm just looking at it and I'm like, it can only be you. Do you understand? It can only be God. So yeah, this is just me being grateful and also.
So tell me, what's your plan for the month? I don't want to say for the week. I want to say for the month because I believe in you and I believe in your strategy. So tell me, what's your plan for November?
So to be honest, I'm of the opinion that ensure that whatever goals you're setting, whatever plans you're setting, they're very realistic. So for now, it's just, working towards networking because, I've been doing that a whole lot of recent. And again, it's due to my show. So it's just me, working on myself personally because personal growth is key because that's how you move forward. That's how you get better and all of that. So yeah, I think the plans is just personal growth, working towards getting good network because my show actually needs it. And I don't know about other people. I know I just would like to work ahead of myself. And that, I think it breaks me down a whole lot of times.
That's what I said I want to know.
Yeah.
Tell me.
So the thing is, I am a person that looks towards the future, right? So I'm saying, okay, 5 months from now, what's the show looking like, right? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to put in place to get to a certain place? So that's just how I am projected, do you get? So honestly, this month is just about self-awareness, understanding myself get better, be able to communicate better with people, understand people around my space, and at the same time network, like heavy on network, because it's heading towards December, so there are a lot of programs, there are a lot of events. I need to be there.
Every morning, I always post this, me walking to the career I chose, the extroverted career I chose, while being an introvert. I feel like that networking thing is still one very hard journey for me, because 1 minute I'm like really, really happy and I just want to talk to everybody. The next 1 month is like my happiness is once in a day. Then the next 1 month I just want to be in the same circle of people that I already know. And then any new person that comes, I'll just shun the person off. Also, my weekend didn't go so great. I feel like I rested, but I think audience will start thinking that every week, all my weekends are always bad. It's not like that. I always get some rest, but the larger part of it is always full of thinking. You're trying to discover yourself, you're trying to manage life, you're trying to do all of these things. And then it now dawns on you that you're adults, some years ago, this was not part of your problem. And all of a sudden, that's what you're thinking about again. Then my plan for November, what's my plan for November? It's just to wait for Christmas. That's just what I'm doing. I'm just waiting for Christmas, because the chicken must chicken this year.
Tell you.
No matter the hardship, please,
we have to eat
Nigerians, come through for us. Please, I give God beguna. Please come through for us. But as always, Mondays are meant for conversations around Nigeria and all its affairs of affairs. And today counts as one of those days. But first, before we dive deep into this topic, I want you to follow us on YouTube at Official Upgrade TV. This is me begging. Please follow us on YouTube at Official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share, listen to us every Monday to Friday. We talk about so many things. So going away from that, when we come back, we're going to be talking about the trending news and the news around the globe. Stay with us.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future,
Yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
Happy birthday, Iwa. Happy birthday. Come on, scream with me.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. This is a big happy birthday to the madam of the madams, the strong woman,
our mommy
the I want to say happy birthday to Uwa. You know, thank you for, you know, encouraging us.
Yes.
Thank you for accommodating us. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for supporting us.
Assisting.
I mean, take it away.
It's just a whole lot.
Tell her everything. Like we should, there's a whole lot. It's like we should make the entire show today just about thanking and appreciating Uwa.
Exactly. I mean, if we literally take today to talk about her, there's just a whole lot of things. We will not actually even get tired of talking to her. So happy birthday to you, Uwa. I wish you a long life and prosperity.
This breakfast exists.
Do you understand?
So please, for her sake, like and subscribe to our channel. Listen to us every day. Every day. I can come on Saturday and Sunday for you. That's what will change people's mind. So happy birthday, Uwa. Great life. You know, God's blessings, God's protection. May you live long. May you succeed.
Yes,
may you go from glory to glory.
Amen.
In God's name.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, welcome back to today's show. And then we're going to be going through, you know, the top stories in the newspaper. But today, again, we're going to be going to the abroad before we come back to Nigeria, because Nigeria is hot. So we need to first go abroad.
I mean, outside the country too is actually hot.
No, but
tomorrow is the election.
Cold and snow.
Tomorrow is the US
election. Let's go and take some cold first, and then we'll come back to the heat that we're experiencing.
I mean,
yes.
All right, this one says, but the right side of the newspaper, that's on the New York Times now. We have Trump uses 20 playbook to lay ground for dispute. All right, but the left side of the newspaper, we have war payments of Russians rolling in cash all over town, spoils of risking one life. Middle of the newspaper, progressive ideals lost a grip on the country. Next to that, white women asked their own to back Harris. The game is just getting started. All right, next to that as well, we have ads tells voters they can flip just this one. The bottom of the newspaper, which is the last headline on the newspaper, says dead poets talking Polish radio experiments bears pitfall of AI, that's artificial intelligence. So the one I want to talk on, this is just to give updates, and everybody should start anticipating for those that want to vote. It's tomorrow, guys. And it says Trump uses 20 playbook to lay ground for dispute. Right? So this one says Trump is suggesting if he loses, it will be due to election fraud by Democrats. I think this is just a campaign strategy, actually. It's also showing select polls results that favor him, suggesting he's going to win big. This sets up his supporters to believe the election outcome is unfair if he doesn't win. This one is strong. He has said
everything. He has
said everything he needs to say. Hey, God.
You people cheated if he doesn't win. That's what he's saying.
So indirectly saying that he has to win.
Well, he has made so many threats on if he doesn't win.
Actually.
This is what he's going to do. This is what's going to do. I wish that I think other parties in Nigeria too can come up
with this kind of story
and say that
we're not saying we're going to send a lamba.
You can say, I dare you Nigerians, if I don't win, something yourself.
I think it's because of, there's already this, just like the way we have the PDP and the APC, we already know that that's like the two major parties in the US, right? And the fact that there's just a whole lot of, like they give these people very strong audience. It's just like here in Nigeria, it's more of the people doing the job than the aspirants themselves, the candidates themselves. Do you get what I'm saying? There's only a few times that we can remember the things that Peter Obi said. There's only a few times that we can remember what Tinubu said. It was us that was not doing the whole, that was doing the whole push-up. But outside the country is quite different. Are we going to say that it probably is because of, the competition? Because, here too there's competition. So how come we are the ones always doing that push forward? But outside the country, it's always them doing the push up.
Over 200 million Nigerians. I can start with that. So we always have a lot to say. We Nigerians naturally always have a lot to say. Even when the thing don't make sense.
There's just a lot.
So that's one thing. And I also feel like that's part of the things that people or aspirants should do better here in Nigeria. If you have put out your campaign strategy and your manifesto, talk more about it. Be realistic about what you want to do, how I want to get it done. It's not just one TV program where you have said it, that you keep repeating and every other person has to carry that with you. You should always lead by example. And I think that's where the whole campaign thing comes in. It's only during major campaign rallies that you see them also coming out to say something. Other than that, is other people. I could for Kamala Harris, I saw the likes of Cardi B and some other people coming out to say, oh, I relate with her. I came from zero to nothing. And there's a lot of controversy about calling Kamala Harris an underdog when you know that she has had it all from the beginning. Even if the picture that is trying to be painted is saying that, you know what, I didn't know anything. My mom came from India and all of that stuff before I became who I am now. So, well, it's a wonderful thing. The election is tomorrow.
Fingers crossed. I mean, let's at the end of the day, I mean, we've been talking about this whole Kamala Harris, Donald Trump for the longest of time. I can't wait to see what the update will look like tomorrow.
Well, I need to take you through the Guardian newspaper back to Nigeria, and the headline reads: Federal government begins food import and may extend zero duty initiative timeline. Besides that, we have Nigeria, 8 ECOWAS countries sign high seas treaty. And below that, Dangote says our petrol is cheaper than the imported ones. Below that, we have hardship. APC slams Makinde, IMPI backs Tinubu as article offers alternative path. Then the Lagos-Calabar Highway, federal government to pay 18 billion naira compensation in 10 days. The last but not the least story says resource control real reason for Rivers political crisis, says Fubara. I'm just going to touch on food because food is like a very key thing that has been happening. Food has gone up. There's so many custom duty and all of that around food. But as much as they say they have begun food imports, it's still a story that we have just heard. We have not really started seeing, the impact of, abundant food in Nigeria. So I hope everything gets better, basically, in Nigeria. We're going to go on a break right now. And when we come back, we'll be talking about the crucial topic we have today. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. As mentioned earlier, today we are tackling a crucial topic that has far-reaching implications for our democracy and the well-being of our citizens: Nigeria's electoral reforms and their impact on human rights and child rights. And we want to know what's next with the whole Nigerian electoral reforms and stuff. So the recent elections have brought to the forefront concerns about voter intimidation, election-related violence, and the exploitation of vulnerable groups, including children. These issues threaten the very foundation of our democracy and undermines the principle of human rights and dignity. Nigeria's electoral reforms have been a topic of discussion for a while now, and the recent elections have put them to the test. The Electoral Act of 2022 was signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari on February 25, 2022, after months of withholding assent. This new act repeals the Electoral Act No. 6 of 2010 and aims to bring innovations to the regulation of federal, state, and area council elections in Nigeria. Some key changes introduced by the Electoral Act of 2022 included financial independence for INEC, which is the new act that established the Independent National Electoral Commission Fund, which ensures financial independence for INEC. We also have the electronic transmission of results. This act allows for the electronic transmission of results, which is significant step towards reducing electoral malpractice. We also have direct and indirect primaries. This act provides for direct and indirect primaries, giving political parties more flexibility in their candidate selection processes. Despite these reforms, challenges persist. The recent elections were marred by controversies, including the arraignment of minors or called almajiris in the courts for protesting. This raises concerns about the protection of human rights and the rule of law. Looking ahead, it is essential to address these challenges and ensure that electoral reforms are effective in promoting free, fair, and credible elections. This includes improving electoral security, enhancing voters' education, strengthening institution frameworks such as INEC. Overall, Nigeria's electoral reforms are a step in the right direction, but there's still much work to be done to ensure the country's electoral process is truly free, fair, and credible. Joining me this morning is a political analyst and journalist who will share his insight on the challenges and opportunities for electoral reform in Nigeria. I have here with me Temidayo Taiwo-Sidiq. He is an innovative storyteller, a journalist, and a public accountability expert with over 13 years of experience across diverse fields. He is dedicated to fostering informed and engaged citizenry and enhancing democratic discourse through impactful journalism. Mr. Temidayo serves as the senior legislative aide on oversight matters to the House spokesman. And finally, he is the managing editor of the Green Chamber Nigerian Media. Good morning, Mr. Temidayo. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Okikiola. I can
Good
hear
morning.
you.
I'm so happy to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're starting your Monday right.
Yeah, I think I have well. That's the most important thing.
Okay, wow. I think that is a success story. You have well. That is beautiful. So this topic is something that trended over the weekend, and even years, I think since Obasanjo regime, we have always had the electoral reform, down to Goodluck Jonathan, to Muhammad Buhari, and now people are requesting that even the current president, which is Tinubu, also, revisits what electoral rights are for the people and Nigerians in general. But you need to tell me, what exactly is electoral reform? What is Nigeria's electoral reform? And how far have we gone? What's the progress rate like?
Okay, I want to start by, thank you very much for having me, Kikiola, and my sister. I want to start by saying that elections are a critical part of democracy. We don't just hold elections because we feel like it. Elections are one of the solid indicators that a country is practicing democracy. However, the general commentary, which is the place I like us to start from this morning, is that we're talking about electoral reforms because somehow, some way, our elections have not delivered the good that we expected or of it. And Okikiola, I like to say something this morning that I don't know might sound shocking to you. A lot of us think that we started conducting elections in 1999, which is just about we actually started conducting elections since 1922, 1923. That's the first 11 municipalities. That's about 101, 102 years. So imagine doing something over and over issues with it. It caused a lot of concern. And then someone who is listening to me or watching this morning might say, oh, but that's misleading. That was just only for Lagos and Calabar. But when we come to when we had the first nationwide elections in Nigeria, that was about 1957 under the Lincoln Constitution, and then 1959, the elections that ushered us into the independence, constitutional independence era. And if you look at that again, okay, it's about 65, 67 years. that is a long time to be doing something and not be confident that, okay, we've actually arrived at this. And it says a lot. It says a lot about what, sorry?
Go on, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, so it says a lot about our practice of these concepts. And I said something earlier about how elections are connected to democracy. The truth is that democracy in Nigeria appears not to have delivered the good for Nigeria because of the way we practice it. We are practicing it in a superficial manner. I mean, it's almost becoming like, in many cases, we just hold elections for the sake of it. And I mean, there are very many elections in Nigeria that are transparent, fair, a handful of them that you will find people, it's hard to fault it. I'll give an example. The elections of, those state elections, not this last one now that came with a lot of controversy. I mean, the elections that INEC introduced, what was called the ZPAD, the last elections in 2020. You would see that, I doubt that the person who lost the election went to court. You may want to say that, because he didn't feel like he's going to win in the courts or something. But one thing is clear, that he didn't go to court. And those are very few instances. The June 12, 1993 elections still remain a reference point. What I am saying is that elections, democracy, federalism, these things are product of study of human psychology and behavior over time. Many years of study. And so talk about the Greek city-states, the Romans, and all of that. Democracy did not start in Nigeria, neither did it start in the US, which we call the bastion of democracy today. It started way, way before. We're talking about hundreds of years ago, if not 1,000 years now. So when you look at the way we go about things here, it's the reason why we'll keep calling for reform. And I should even say that what we call dividends of democracy, as it were, it's not dividend of democracy, because dividend of democracy really has to do with things like free speech, things like human rights and all of that, which touched on the children aspect.
Freedom to talk, no freedom for what comes after.
Yeah, so if we're really talking about, if we're tying roads to being dividends of democracy, Okikiola, we had most of our major infrastructure that we have today. We had them in the military era, the National Theatre in Lagos, this entire city of Abuja, the FCT. These things were built by military government. The Third Mainland Bridge, think about our gigantic infrastructure. Most of them were built in the military era. So if that was done by the military, you want to say that, was it dividend of democracy then? So democracy, we practice it because of the good that is supposed to come with it. And then very quickly, to now talk about elections. I think that a lot of people have talked about restructuring, that when we restructure our electoral process, things will get better. The truth is that to restructure something means that you've probably, you had a foundation for a 3-story, and eventually you want to make it a 4-story. And so you put supporting pillars, all right? And you put supporting pillars so that this part does not fall. We actually need a redesign. We don't need a restructuring, because, I mean, we've had 7 cycles of elections, and we should move on from certain things. You see that in the last election that was held in Edo State, there were still issues of late arrival of materials. This is something that we have done 7 electoral cycles. In fact, my entire youth life,
in a lot of cases, the BVAS was not working.
Yeah, my entire youth life, I have seen how many elections that I've had. I have voted in at least 4 elections now. I mean, so you think about it, that, and then you just see that we repeat the same thing over and over again. You said something earlier, which is what I want to make a very quick reference to before I apply the brakes, is the fact that under the Obasanjo administration, we had what was called, under the Yar'Adua administration, shortly after the 2007 election, 2007 election, which a lot of people described as the most fraudulent elections in Nigerian history. I mean, the person who was the greatest beneficiary of that election President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua of blessed memory, even had to say it, that that election was very flawed. And then he committed to electoral reforms, which was why he set up the Justice Uwais Commission, Uwais Committee. That committee did its work, sat for about 3 months, and then eventually delivered a document, a report, which contained far-reaching recommendations. Now, to the question you asked about how far have we gone, it's good to note that we've brought out things from that report to implement, but we still have a lot of things that are untouched. For example, in that report, it suggested that INEC should be unbundled. You should have 3 different commissions from the current INEC. So you should have INEC, you should have INEC that is just focused on conducting elections, so there's no distraction. When you have another commission monitoring the political parties, INEC would not give excuse that, because we are doing this, we have a lot of things to do before election. That's why there was late arrival of materials. It also recommended that you should have Electoral Offences Commission. I'm not so fluent in Yoruba, but you know this thing that they say that where there is no law, there is no offense.
There's no crime, yes.
Right? Yes, there's no crime. We cannot continue to conduct elections over and over, and you see irregularities, and then nobody is brought to book. Consequences is what make people to, even God, some people, I don't think that that's the right way to worship God, but a lot of people fear God and are holding on to moralistic values because of the fact that they feel like there are consequences, if not now, in the life after. So you think about elections. If you don't have Electoral Offences Commission, there is no way you would not have people do things and get away with it. And this is one of the recommendations of the Uwais that's contained in the Uwais report on electoral reforms. 1, unbundle INEC into 3 separate entities: Political Parties Registration Commission, INEC itself, and then an Electoral Offences Commission. It also even recommended a constituency delimitation commission, which would draw out electoral district. Okay, this place is Koshofe, this place is Lagos East Senatorial District, and all of those things. Sometimes some of these things may need withdrawing. If you have more people in a particular area, representation will not be balanced, and so you might need to like rework or redesign a constituency. But because all of these things were handed to us by the military, it almost seems like there are no go areas, you can't touch them. But importantly, one good thing that we are seeing, I'm sure we'll come to solutions, we are seeing that a lot of things have been brought from this report and they're not being put forward. Another thing the Uwais report suggested is the appointment of the INEC chairman. That report, it is suggested there recommended that the INEC chairman should not be appointed by the president. The INEC chairman should be appointed by, recommended by the National Judicial Council. And it also says that the INEC should have, if the INEC chairman is a man, the deputy chairman should be a woman.
Perfect.
It was that gender friendly. It also talked about, in that report, there's also the provision that says that positions for INEC should be advertised. So in that way, you're able to get the best hands. It's not just people who are being chosen by the political class. Sometimes it's difficult to separate certain aspects of bias from the choosing of these. There are not very many INEC people that have been chosen in recent times. I'm not even saying under this government. Now, in recent times, that people have not raised issues. We know that former President Buhari, for example, tried to appoint his personal assistant as an INEC National Commissioner, Loretta Onoche. We also know, for example, that there's some people in INEC currently who civil society raised issues about, that these people are partisan or that they've held positions in the past, which in some way may blur their sentiment in handling neutral issues like elections. So I would just apply the brakes here, but the point remains that you cannot be doing one thing over and over again and expect that
different results.
You would experience change if you don't take a hard line on it. So in summary, I think that we don't really need any new reports, any new thing. Just go to the Uwais Commission or Uwais Committee report and implement it.
Thank you, Temidayo. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, so we will go on a break right now, and then when we come back, we're going to talk more about how the impact of elections has taken its toll on Nigerians and, even our democracy at large. So please stand by while we also go on this break. Stay with us, people.
Life is made up of moments, some that lift us, others that break us. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space where we explore the beauty, the heartbreaks, and the incredible strength that every relationship brings into our lives. Friendship, marriages, partnerships, and everything in between.
Yes, say yes.
All the connections that shapes who we are today. Every week, we dive into the stories that define us. Stories of love, loss, heartbreaks, and healing. Real life stories from real people, just like you and I. Heartlines is where emotions meet understanding, and where we learn that we're never truly alone. Join me Mondays through Fridays at 9:30 p.m. for Heartlines, where we connect with every heart, one story at a time.
Welcome back. I would let God's Beauty take our question right now, as Mr. Temidayo has been giving us key insights on Nigeria's electoral reform, what can be done, what has been recommended, and the cues that Nigerians and even the government should take notice of, and then take from there. So God's Beauty,
and that's where I would actually like to pass in my question. Mr. Taiwo, are you with us?
Yes.
All right. So I like the fact that you made mention of, what's happened during this recent elections, right? And how you hear some, INEC officials tell you that, oh, the reason why we're starting late and all of that is as a result of logistics issue. My question is, how can logistics issue be an issue for you? This is your job, right? So it somehow feels like they're not doing their job. So you also made mention of the fact that this whole electoral process actually needs redesigning and not restructuring. So I'd like you to put us on that. What exactly are we doing wrong? I mean, you made mention of a few. What exactly should the government start putting in place now? You made mention of the fact that the INEC on its own needs to be, divided into three or something. I would want you to expatiate on that. What should be the solution ground? What exactly should we be doing right now? Like, I need practical examples now.
Okay. If we've done, thank you very much. If we've had to conduct election over 7 electoral cycles, I'm not talking about 7 years. I'm saying 4 series of 4 years in 7 places. That's a long time. It means that we should begin to take note of certain things that have failed in the past and begin to work on them. INEC, for example, in a bid to improve the process, has introduced several innovations. There was one, I mentioned the issue of zipper. That was the first one they came up with. And then much later, we had what was called the smart card reader. I'm sure you will remember that.
Yes.
And then much later, they went to the court and said that, oh, smart card reader is not a determinant. We fought that. We came up with BVAS and IREV. It just looks like a vicious circle. All of this is pointing to something. It is pointing to the use of technology. We cannot have a case where Nigerians are doing great exploits all over the world in different and diverse fields of life. And the very thing that determines destinies, that determines the future of unborn generation, which is actually the future of this country.
Yeah.
And we just leave it to chance like that. It means that we need to begin to move. I'm sorry I use the word begin to move. We need to move to electronic voting. Electronic voting.
Hello, Mr. Temidayo, are you with us? Hello. Okay, so while Mr. Temidayo will get back to us, I feel like he was already talking about part of the
voting.
Yes, electronic voting. But I want to say that the whole idea of thumbprinting came from the fact that everybody has a unique thumbprint, right? And it's impossible for it to be copied. And then we had the case of where people would thumbprint this one, thumbprint this one, thumbprint this one. But in a working system, those kind of things should be easily detected, knowing fully well that you have a unique thumbprint on all your fingers and it's very peculiar to you. So if we should move to electronic voting where logistics will not be an issue, how do we now integrate the fact that all the new things that we have brought is no longer working? Mr. Temidayo, are you here with us now?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, wonderful. I would like you to continue from where you stopped.
Yeah.
Yes. So the entry point, the beginning of redesign is the use of data and technology needs to be infused into the process with a lot of seriousness. And I was trying to say something as an aside.
Okay.
You would notice that the last time when the processes leading to the elections, a lot of people say, oh, we're not ripe for electronic transmission. We're not talking about electronic voting. A lot of people say we're not ripe for electronic transmission of results. Where there are many parts of this country where there are people are not enlightened and all of that. For God's sake, we are not an archaic people. Okikiola, I was going to say that there was a time in Lagos that because of traffic, vehicles were allotted specific days in which they will come out on odd and even number basis. I don't know if you heard about something like that.
No, I haven't.
I have
very
one.
high level.
That's a new news.
So that is a very high level of organization. So if Nigeria could do something like that, I mean, if your vehicle has the plate number has even number, you don't come out on Monday, you come out on Tuesday. Those who are odd numbers, just because of traffic in Lagos. This was a thing before the Tinubu administration came in 1999 as governor of Lagos, and then he started working on transportation, brought the BRT and all of that. That's not the point. The point is that I'm saying that Nigerians have practiced something that is very organized. So why is something like electronic transmission of results an issue? I get that electronic voting will come with a lot of fears and paranoia, but the entry point can be something like electronic transmission. And let's talk about the voters' accreditation and registration process in the first place. Our voters register has a lot of issues. I want you to take a look at the last elections. The president won with 8 million plus votes. Our current president. The person who came second and who came third of the PDP and Labour Party, they had 6 points, something million votes. If you put and then the person who came fourth from the NNPP had about 1 million votes or thereabout.
Yeah.
If you put all this together, you would come to about 21 million. So that itself shows you something. You have about 21 million people decide among the. So add the total vote. I'm not sure the entire votes that were cast at the presidential election was up to 30 million. Let's be conservative with data now.
The data.
I'm not sure it's up to 30 million. And so you had only 30 million determine the 30 million people determine who became president. Yet we say that we have over 90 million plus on the voters register. What happened? We also say that we are over 200 million people. There's a far cry between 90 million or even 30 million and 220 million that will mount as our population. That shows that we are not getting our data right. You cannot get elections right if you don't get data right. Elections are like mathematics. You cannot arrive at a conclusion with faulty premises or with faulty formulas. It means that you must get every step of the way. You call an election credible, free and fair when you have substantial compliance. It means that all the rules that you set, you were able to at least achieve maybe 9 out of 10 of them. And you see this thing about electronic voting. Two things I want to say about it is that first, it is in the West report. It was recommended that same report I'm telling you that was submitted in 2008. Apart from that, electronic voting is not some rocket science. I want you to know that the former Kaduna State Governor, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, conducted local government elections in this country twice under Kaduna SIEC with electronic voting machines, and opposition won elections in the state. So what that shows you that it is doable, it is possible. But if people, they just say, oh, maybe this person is sounding idealistic, I get that we can possibly put electronic voting in the parking lot, but electronic transmission of results is a must, because that would build confidence in people. Interrogating the voters, figures of voters register, it shows that we either inflated the figures of people that are there, or it is possible that people do not come out. Whichever way, something is wrong. If people did not come out, it means that they don't believe in the process. Do we agree to that? If people came out, that is the actual figure, then it also means that we have not done enough to clean up our register. In the 2019 elections, I did not vote in that elections because I moved from Benin to Lagos. And at that time, they told me it was going to take 3 months for me to vote. I need to have transferred my polling unit 3 months before the time. So I didn't vote in the 2019 presidential elections. What that means is because that happened because we did not take advantage of data and technology. You see this issue with election, people disputing election, it has been there right from time. And the beginning of credible election starts with data. In 1963, we had the census crisis. In 1964, the same thing. 1953, we've had election crisis in Nigeria that almost tore this country apart. Think about many of the major issues, crises we faced as a country. They largely stemmed from election and census. What is the big deal about conducting elections? The big deal about conducting elections is because we don't want to apply data and technology. And every Nigerian that is of age, over 18, most likely we have at least 3 out of the major 5 means of identification. You have a bank verification number, BVN. You have a voter's identification number, VIN. You have a national identification number, NIN. You have a DIN, driver's identification number from your driver's license. You have an international passport. There are at least 5 means of identification. And these things are seen as credible. If you harness and harmonize this data together, you're likely going to see the true population of whether people in the country or people who are voting age or even registered voters. So we need to actually get our data right. And then secondly, I want to reiterate the fact that if you don't fix issues of consequences, the West report recommends that anybody who is caught in electoral fraud or commits an electoral offense should be banned for 10 years. Imagine somebody eyeing a political position and someone they are knocked out for 10 years and it stands. It will serve as a deterrent to others. So these are some of the things that we need to put in place. Another thing that I need to say very quickly is the fact that as a people, we also need to change our mindset towards issues of elections and democracy. We do not understand that democracy is a values-driven concept. It's not just a system, it's a values-driven concept in the sense that it comes with extra things with which you practice it. One of them is fairness. Another is freedom. Another is equality. Another is inclusion. Another is representation. we still have 50% of our population, that is women now, not properly represented in politics in Nigeria.
Yes.
When are we even going to start talking about, we've not gotten issue of women representation right. When are we going to start getting issues of PWDs, people with disabilities? We're still struggling to have more women elected in parliament. So you see that we are really, really on the back seat, on the back burner. We have not done so much to, and I'm happy that the National Assembly, the current National Assembly, is doing a lot in that regard. For example, I'm aware, and I'm also, by the grace of God, part of a process that is looking to ensure that we have independent candidacy in Nigeria. And that will do a lot for democratization of the space. Democratization of the space in the sense that people do not necessarily need to belong to political parties for election. And this is something that has been a barrier for women, for example. I'm talking inclusion now as a principle in democracy. The idea of democracy means that you want more people to participate. And more people cannot participate if there are barriers. So things like independent candidacy will make somebody who is popular and to a large extent also credible to be elected without going through the rigors of joining a political party and all of that. It's a complementary factor to the political party system. So that will increase women participation. It will increase participation of people with disabilities. Then there are also some other things that I've seen in the current National Assembly that is going on. You are aware that there's something called the provision for special seats as part of the Constitution amendment, where every state will have, every state house of assembly will have more women, one seat each created from, added to the various state assembly seats currently, so that you can have women. And then in the National Assembly, they also want one seat per state, so that you have more women. By the time that issues of women, making laws for women with very few women in National Assembly, and this is where things like independent candidacy comes in. There's also the special seats. There's also a special seat for special interest groups, where people with disabilities will automatically have a seat that they have to contest for. So I think that there's a bill on that in the National Assembly, the House of Reps, sponsored by Rep. Temidayo Jr., that would have 6 seats in the 6 geopolitical zones reserved for people who are either people with disabilities or women. They are called special interest groups. You see, when we do all of these things, we would have elevated the practice of democracy. And also, we would have also removed a lot of this do or die thing that comes with elections. Part of the reason why our elections are not credible is because of the do or die approach we add to it, which is why I brought this slant of we need to work on our approach towards elections. And another thing is that we need to remove, de-incentivize second term. This is a personal opinion. We need to de-incentivize things like second term for executive positions. I want to imagine that you have a president or governor who knows that is going in for a 5-year term, for example. When that happens, the level of seriousness that is attached will increase. And so you don't have a lot of politicking for you to win a second term.
But basically, the idea, Mr. Temidayo, basically, they say the idea of second term is that you have done so much great job in your first term, and then the people want you again. But we have seen that in Nigeria, they have now turned it to, I must go for second term. I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, I've done anything for the country, I must go for second term. So I understand that you have said that we should, take the idea of second term.
I think there should just be an exception then instead. If there's an exception clause, probably in a situation whereby
always find
they
way
just find a way. That's
just like the way
problem.
you spoke about smart card reader, down to BVAS, down to this, down to that. We always have something to say to say that this thing is not working for us in our country because we already know what we want to do. It's imbibed in our hearts that we are about to do something silly, and it's because it's always for selfish reasons. You mentioned fairness. You mentioned so many things, and because we don't have so much time, I want you to sort of give us your parting shot on what should we do moving forward for the government. What are you suggesting in 1 minute? For we, the people, what are you suggesting in 1 minute? In 30 seconds, I mean.
All right. Parliament is the bedrock of democracy, the body in Nigeria that is saddled with the responsibility of amending either the Electoral Act or the Constitution that concerns all of these issues we have talked about is the National Assembly.
Yes.
I get that a lot of people do not believe so much National Assembly, but this is a time to exercise faith in those the current crop of lawmakers. A lot of them are new. So what we should do is to follow the constitution amendment process. Every bill that comes out of the National Assembly that relates to Electoral Act, that relates to the Constitution, follow it and let's make a conversation like you are doing by bringing me here this morning. Let's make a conversation about it and make it widespread, create a lot of awareness, and so people can see that this is what would actually make our lives better.
Would I like
Elections
to ask if you have access to how they can get this information, maybe via WhatsApp or Twitter or any social media handle? How should we know that we are following something up?
Yeah, it's simple because I work in the National Assembly. I would suggest that you follow the House of Reps handle. The House of Reps handle is at House NGRO on Facebook, on Twitter. There's a lot of information that is put out there. You can also follow the National Orientation Agency. And then for the House of Reps, where a lot of constitution amendment is going on, the House of Reps has an official channel, which is on bit.ly/the Green Chamber. When you join that platform, you see all of the bills that comes out. Every Friday, there are bills that are put out of all the things that happen in the course of the week, newsletter and all that. So you're able to get what is going on. The House of Reps is not as opaque as many people think it is. At least this 10th house, I have seen that a lot of effort is being made to make things more transparent and accountable. So Nigerians, do not just lament and agonize.
Yes, do something.
Follow the constitutional amendment process. Yes. I know you believe a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Temidayo. Thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us on this important discussion. Remember, your voice matters in shaping Nigeria's future. Ensure you subscribe to our channel at Official Upgrade TV. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?